Okay, so
what are we talking about today?
Ruse,
Hormones?
No, Ruse.
Hormones? What?
Ruse, what happened to you today? You did not look good.
I was fine. I felt like I got out of a workout because I took a new supplement. Well, part of it's new to me. So from Level Up, the company Level Up, I order a bunch of their supplements. They have like a bunch of oral peptides that you can take in great mixtures of different things, whether it's GI repair, neuro repair. So I took this one. It was tesfenicine. Luckily, I was like, all right, although the tesfenicine seems like a lower dose, maybe the other stuff in there are going to crush me.
What is tesfenicine?
So tesfenicine's like triple, like serotonin, norepinephrine, dopamine reuptake inhibitor. So it was originally formed.
So it's kind of like an agonist for all three of those.
Yeah. So it was originally formed as a dementia drug, but they found out that it was like people were losing weight, so they had to stop the study. So then it got put on the back burner because they weren't going to use it for dementia.
Because those patients forgot how much weight they lost.
So the gym rats used it for weight loss. So an experiment with
smartest gym
it.
rats in the world.
I know.
Oh, give me more
Dude, with a lot of this stuff.
Give me my TI-84.
With a lot of this stuff, that's the way it comes out. It's the underground gym people just trying it out, and it actually works. So
just like Viagra. Let's lower your blood pressures. Doc, I got to tell you, my blood pressure is perfectly under control, but I've had a hard-on for like 4 months. It's true. There's like they find a commercial sale for a form of medication, and they just push it. So tesfenicine, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, reuptake
inhibitor. So it just increases those levels, and you just think differently about food. You don't eat as much; it curbs your appetite.
Those are huge, like neuroreceptors or receptors in your mind for the way you like not just act, but like respond to things.
So it's good medication to lose weight, but it also keeps you happy. So you're pretty happy in the morning. Yeah. So that mixed with oxytocin, I think, like.
Do you think it's a mixture of all three things? Because a lot of people are on serotonin reuptake inhibitors like Cymbalta. Yeah. But they're still technically depressed, but it's kind of masking some of the symptoms.
I wonder what would happen if I took it with methylene blue, because with methylene blue, it also increases your serotonin levels too. So you're probably going to get a higher push. So yeah.
And dopamine's obviously. Yeah.
So what happened in clinic today?
So it wasn't in clinic; it was in surgery. So the tesfenicine's a pretty low dose. I've taken like probably 10 times the dosage amount. So I was like, all right, the other stuff I don't really know too much. Which one of them's L-Biba? It's L-B-A-I-B-A. It's like L.
Is that the Alibaba stock?
No, it's.
Alibaba stock ticker.
It's like L-beta amino isobutyric acid. And then the other thing. I
remember the last time I heard about that.
Yeah, the other thing's that GBB. GBB is just a bioavailable form of carnitine that you can take. For muscle,
Rob,
which is
what
good
do you know
for
about carnitine.
Carnitine's good for muscle building. But
what is carnitine?
Huh?
Isn't it part
carnitine?
of the Krebs
Amino
acid? Amino acid. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it part of the Krebs cycle?
So the L-Biba,
the Krebs cycle, dude. Seriously,
but it's mainly
taught to learn everything about the Krebs cycle. It's like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? It's a big ass wheel.
It's mainly this L-Biba, which kind of induces like brown adipose fat buildup, and it's
buildup or a breakdown.
Build up because you break down the white adipose tissue.
Okay.
More.
Hate to sound dumb.
Yeah.
Brown or yellow. It's brown or yellow fat, right?
Yeah.
Brown is when you're young.
Yeah.
That's baby fat.
Yeah. And that's yellow, like that gives you energy and build muscle. Yeah. So
you're able to build up brown baby fat.
Yeah. And so what it does is it's actually something that your body releases when you work out. After a tough workout, it's what your body releases. So like, you know, you do your HIIT workouts and whatever. So you're releasing all this. So this is that, I don't know what they call it.
Alibaba stock.
Yeah.
Holdings.
Yeah. So,
Incorporated.
yeah. So it's almost like an exercise in a pill. So luckily I was like, all right, let me just take one instead of two. And I probably won't take,
you showed some refrain.
Yeah. I don't know, like, and I don't know if the caffeine in addition to this, like,
it probably
got
didn't
me.
help.
Yeah.
But how'd you feel?
So I was sweating bullets. I never, like, my hat never like gets wet, and like it was like friggin' like all wet. Yeah. My scrubs were like drenched in sweat, and like I was like in heat, and then like I walked outside and I felt like super cold. So yeah, and like even I have a mask on, and like my
you had like a 1-day flu.
Just like
like.
Yeah. And you had a cough in there, and the staff was like sitting there. They're like,
how'd you feel otherwise? I know
I felt great. I felt great. It was just like
your
happening.
body
I was
going
like,
through all that crap is like, oh my God, what's happening? I don't.
No,
feel
I was on point because it also, like, you know, if you're fasting and stuff, it increases like your free fatty acids that help your brain function better. Like when you're in ketosis, it also kicks that up. So it's just overall function. You're like super functioning.
So were you in ketosis?
I was already in ketosis because I hadn't eaten from the night before. I drink my cup of coffee. I usually drink my coffee 2 or 3 hours after I wake up because I want my like cortisol release and hormone releases to be normal. And because if you take that caffeine like right away as soon as you wake up, that shuts down your system. So what I do is I just span that out. Yep. So my body just produces its own caffeine. And most of the caffeine I drink, it's more, I think it's for taste now. I don't even feel like it's
you build a tolerance. Yeah. It's like, it's not like you even get any type of feeling off of it.
Yeah.
I still chug sugar-free energy drinks like an idiot, but I'm like, yeah. But I don't. I
use it
to
more socialize. Like if I have clinic, I'll drink a cup of coffee. So like one thing, I'm more productive in clinic, and like I just pay attention much more to the patients and everything.
I need it, but it's probably because of my anticholinergics that I'm on.
Yeah, which you got to stop.
What a statement! The way you said it too. I need it, but it's because of all
the drugs.
Oh, what was I saying?
There you go. That's screwing up your hormones. So there you go.
I'm sure it's screwing up a lot of things.
It's shrinking your balls, dude. You gotta do something about that.
It was hilarious. He had like the sniffles and a cough. He had to go to the bathroom.
Well, I didn't really have a cough. I accidentally
did something happen?
I was just
so all the staff's like, oh yeah, he's got one of those allergies and he's sick and he's in the OR.
You don't really want to know what.
And he comes back 30 minutes later. He just busts in through the wall like the cool.
You really
don't.
He's
like, let's finish this case.
No, you really do. You really don't want to know what I did, but because it makes your whole system go fast, and I went and took a shit.
He also thought like.
That makes sense.
All of our patients with like the GLP drugs, we titrate up, and this guy just decides to go like high dose right away. Is that what you did?
But the thing is, I was the guinea pig. I originally took it myself before any patient.
Oh, of course.
So I knew all the side effects and how to
deal with it. That is true.
Fix it. So
he went high dose the first day. He was like, screw this, like titration. He like walked to the OR. He's like, I'm feeling kind of sick.
I finished the case. Oh no! Before you finished the case, you were like,
I'm feeling kind of sick.
Well, you're about to put.
And he goes and like just yaks his brains out and comes back and does the case just fine. He's like, yeah, I wasn't feeling too good.
Dude, I was done. You were putting dressings on. You had to put dressings on.
Bruce was,
You had to put dressings on.
Yeah, Bruce was, I mean, he cruised through the surgery. The lady looked great.
I know.
Oh, this case. I'm talking about when he overdid the GLPs on his
But
first
even with
day.
the GLPs, I finished my side of the breast reduction.
Oh, you were perfectly fine for the surgical side. It was just funny, like being like, okay, I've never seen Ruse like that before. It's like,
well, the best was Pam had me do a bunch of stuff at home, and like I bent over in front of the garage and started puking. Like I just didn't feel good. After it was that same night. Because
the GLP night or the
GLP night, I was like,
GLP night?
And like I just bent over and I was like, oh no, I was like, all right. And I thought it was food poisoning because I had like a tuna fish sandwich that day.
Yourself.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But I thought it was I thought it was the tuna fish sandwich. But not for long. It
was hospital.
It was
doctor's
hospital.
Lounge tuna fish sandwich. Yeah. You know what? Now that you say
that's a questionable.
It might not have been the GLP at all.
Because I have gotten food poisoning from like ranch dressing or anything like that.
Gotten food poisoning from hospital
food.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was up in the air, but like how sick I was like, this is not the tuna fish sandwich. And my mom's like, what's wrong? I'm like, oh, it was a tuna fish sandwich. It came easy peasy. But I knew what it was.
Yeah. And then mom comes to me and is like, is he okay? Is he okay?
That's why I lost 10 pounds within the first week of being on GLP. It was like on super. It's like, shit, I'm going to lose a lot of weight this way.
Okay, guys.
I'll be down under 100 pounds in a couple months.
Since I have no clue, what's the deal with hormones?
What a horrible segue.
Yeah.
That was
Could you have done it any worse? Do you want another take on that?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. No, you're
what's something people always blame on hormones?
But it matters what hormones you're talking about.
What are hormones? Let's start at the very basic. What are hormones?
Hit it.
Hormones, main messenger system of your body. It connects your brain with your gut, with your kidneys, any organ you have. Like that's your messenger system. Think of it as the postal service, where it's like your brain's telling the rest of your body what to do.
Yeah.
Like whether it's growth hormone that reacts on muscles like skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, bones, compared to thyroid telling you where your where your metabolism lies. It kind of controls how your body runs, right?
Or for Rodbest's sake, estrogen that created his female reproductive parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So as we age, the hormones go down. And one of the things is it doesn't go down in everyone, but and some people don't live the best lives and their hormones don't go down. But
not just necessarily go down, but the balance is different, right?
Yeah.
So you might create some hormones at an increased level in comparison to other hormones.
Yeah. And some of the ways you notice that, your hormones are out of balance are, you have poor sleep, you're irritable, you can't think straight or focus, you have trouble sleeping. It's
poor
all
sleep's
sorts of
huge because sometimes like people drink to get some sleep and stuff, and they don't realize where like you need to get like over an hour 15 minutes of deep sleep to get sufficient growth hormone release. You're getting 30 minutes to 45 minutes like each night, and that the drinking suppresses that deep sleep even more.
Yeah, and also eating, you want to like be like you want to have your last meal like 4 or 5 hours before hitting the sack, because that gives enough time for you to like release your hormones and be in a rested state. You don't want that food in your gut. Then it'll delay the release of growth hormone or decrease the release of your hormones.
Is that the main hormones that are like, yeah?
Go ahead. No.
It's just your system's response.
So a big misunderstanding for a lot of people is that growth hormone is just like a release mechanism, and they don't realize there's like a negative feedback loop for almost every hormone.
Yeah.
So your body's way to make sure you're not overproducing or overdoing something with a certain hormone is a negative feedback. That's why you don't want to go crazy gym style testosterone injections, is your body's going to have a negative feedback loop, and it's going to shut that off. So you're technically chemically like castrating yourself.
Yeah. And you'll notice decreased testicular size with being on a high dose.
Yeah. But if you're at the high range and normal, that's your ideal like place to be for the benefits without the side effects.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not just testosterone. It's most hormones in your body. You want to be
cortisol, insulin. You want to be balanced. Thyroid hormone, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. You want to be balanced and not, too high, too low. You want to be
and keep it almost
balanced and
like
optimized. And balanced and optimized or normal levels doesn't mean by going to Sonora Quest and it tells you have normal lab levels. You got to look at what's optimal levels for, when you were in your 20s or 30s at your optimal level, rather than looking at numbers, And a lot of hormone replacement places are usually treating you with symptom-based rather than looking at your numbers. Your lab numbers are going to give you a starting point, but you want to use that to titrate the patients up to a level that they feel at their best or optimized, and then keep them at that level. And you just use their symptoms from then on. The lab values are just a starting point, but then
it gives you some guidance.
Yeah. What symptoms are you looking for?
So just like I said, poor sleep, brain fog,
feeling tired despite getting sleep. It just
sounds like me.
Depressed, hair loss, hair growth, weight gain.
Dude's talking about my estrogen levels.
Decreased libido. If you're not horny, you're not healthy. So
that's a quick and easy way to think of it.
Yeah.
If you're not horny, you're not healthy.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true.
You need a decent amount of testosterone, and most people are like I don't even know the units they measure it, but normal testosterone is 150 to 1200, or 1150. I think it's
it's 250 or 350, and it depends on labs.
It's wide. Like for somebody over 30 to be over 500 is probably not realistic. So.
And some people go by free testosterone and not total testosterone. What you're saying is total testosterone.
That's what I'm talking about.
Is it the digestive hormones that play more of a role in the sleep part of it?
No.
Okay.
No, you still growth hormone and even your testosterone, progesterone.
Growth hormone seems to be huge. With growth hormone, you can second this, but growth hormone drops off as you age, and it drops off hardcore. And it's really correlative with expected life expectancy.
Okay.
In secondary data, not directly maybe. I haven't looked that up.
Well, you can't take. The thing is, you don't want to take too much growth hormone.
No, you don't.
Or growth hormone
it matters
itself.
If you want to build a forehead like Barry Bonds, you take all growth hormone.
So appropriate, taking growth hormone or growth hormone releasing peptides or keeping your growth hormone levels appropriate, which is you measure IGF levels. If they're appropriate, you could do healthy aging. But if you have elevated levels of growth hormone for extended periods of time, that's going to decrease your life expectancy, and that's been shown in multiple studies. So you don't want to like just
problems. Because you want things to grow appropriately. You don't want them because your body's in a balance. So you can optimize that balance, or you can overdo it one way or another. Like when you were taking growth hormone, right? Yeah. And you were getting symptoms of neuropathy.
Yeah.
Right.
Which our last YouTube, we talked about this. Like people are like, oh, you don't get carpal tunnel. I'm like, yeah, you do. I've taken pure, growth hormone, like pharmaceutical grade. I've taken stuff from China.
Taking stuff for horses.
Why do you get carpal tunnel?
Everything
grows, and you get edema. You get peripheral edema everywhere. Okay. So I got carpal tunnel. I got trigger fingers from it.
Cervical spine issues.
Well, I think the cervical spine issues and stuff was poor posture.
Okay.
Sedentary lifestyle, and overweight. I think that was more of an issue.
But it's like you have these small canals and everything's growing.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be as efficient in movement.
Yeah, I got hip pain, like wrist pain.
So this is a great segue into the next thing is like we were talking about those negative feedback loops.
Yeah.
Where if you take growth hormone, it triggers your body's negative feedback loop because it doesn't see the growth hormone releasing peptide to the growth hormone to the end receptors. It just sees like a huge amount of growth hormone. So your negative feedback loop tells your body to stop creating anything and everything down path to creating more growth hormone. So you're getting less growth hormone releasing peptide, right? And less endogenous, or fancy word for what your body makes as growth hormone.
And that's why you want to cycle it. You want
that is cycling.
And you do 5 days on, 2 days off. And
before we even get into that, is like it's also why it's preferential to take a releasing peptide rather than the growth hormone itself.
Not necessarily. It matters what you want to do, what you're looking for. You know, some people, growth hormone works perfect for like building muscles. I think it's more effective than the growth hormone releasing peptides. And I've used IGF, which is what growth hormone actually releases. And with IGF, you like straight up see like right away you get cut up and like build muscle. And it's great, but you're not supposed to be on it long term. I
What's
do it
long
for
term?
like, I do it for 20, 30 days and come off. And I'll
Is it
usually
30 days on off, or do you spend more time off?
I usually spend a lot of time off. I'll do it like once.
What do you think, like if someone's trying to get like maximum effect of this, like let's say if you're going out trying to hit 71 home runs, but doing it in a legal manner, what would your cycle look like?
I don't know. You could
days off.
You could do every day on, but I'd probably do like 5 days or 6 days on and 1 to 2 days off, and just have the washout cycle, and then be off of it for, they say 6 weeks, and then back on it for 6 weeks. 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off.
Equal amount of
for
time.
For me, I do
off.
it like twice a year for like 20 days. I don't like, and I do it like if I got a big trip planned, I try to get, especially a beach trip, not going skiing or something.
Still showing off at the beach.
Yeah.
Most people, especially young people, probably don't realize that they're walking around right now at about 55%, maybe 60% of their true state of normal. There is a nutrient, an amino acid, a substrate, a compound, an element missing from their body that if they knew what it was, would make the difference between them being an average person and being a superhuman. They have accepted something as either a consequence of aging or a consequence of stress or a consequence of their environment, something like brain fog or repeated poor sleep or weight gain or water retention or not the healthiest response to exercise or brain fog or poor short-term recall or any number of things that they've accepted as consequence of life, of aging, of stress or what have you. That's not a consequence of any of those things. It's a consequence of missing raw material.
What do you think? That's your boy.
No, he's right, because like all that stuff, could be attributed to hormone imbalances, like he said, and some of that stuff leads to, hormone imbalances.
It is hard to understand, because he's saying like, oh, maybe like 1 to 2 things that you could like. I took it as like 1 to 2 things like you can ingest will make up for all these things, where I think it's like a bigger picture thing.
Well, for some people, it may just be the 1 or 2 things. I think overall, you got to fix everything else, and then you go to the hormones. You got to fix the sleep. You got to fix the lifestyle with exercise and being active, and then you got to fix the nutrition. You can't just like eat like crap and expect the other 2 to make up for it.
I just take 12 vitamin B12 tablets a day. That's what I was deficient in. That's what I took it as. I was just like, okay, you can't just do one.
Yeah.
Almost
all
everybody.
Those, all
like
those are gonna,
like
all those are gonna
cyclical.
elevate, and like eating whole foods, and all those are gonna elevate your hormones and get them more in balance. But if you're chronically like doing the wrong things, then it's gonna be tough even fixing those. But like sometimes it's going to be a mixture, right? You're going to fix. You're going to have to fix
a mixture, right?
It's
lifestyle and like.
Some people can get away with just fixing their lifestyle, the way they eat, the way they sleep, the decrease in stress levels, and they don't need the hormone treatment. But some people, even with that, they can't get their hormones right. Where, they need that boost to be able to. Like live stress-free, be more focused,
or on
be able to build
some
more
people
muscle.
Just trying to do the hormone replacement to make up for all these stressors and everything that's compounding in their life. Where like you got to take like a holistic approach to address every issue.
Yeah.
Where like those it might take care of some of the symptoms, but it's not going to be like. This is it. This is your magic pill where like you get this hormone straight. Yeah. Your mind's going to be set. It's going to take care of your marital problems. You're going to become a better dad. Like that's what I'm saying. Like there's probably some adjustment overall. Yeah. Rather than just blaming one thing for everything that might not be optimized.
But a lot of the things, although I use stuff and like I think it's led to me being better in other ways, but like exercise is huge, because that exercise, 2 things: it gets your stress out, gets your meditation there, you get better sleep, you build muscle, which helps you get better sleep, it increases your testosterone. Minutes. Yeah,
like 3 to 5 times a week.
Yeah. And resistance training. You got to do resistance training. You got to build that muscle to increase
literally
testosterone.
1 to 2 hours a week.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
And the other thing is, if you have a lot of fat, you're going to have increased estrogen levels, which is going to make it tougher to lose the fat, and you're going to be more irritable and
not just that,
lazier.
Increased fat. Yeah. And secondarily estrogen levels. Yeah. Probably lead to more cause of cancer and
depression,
incidence of cancer, depression, anxiety. Yeah. So there's some root causes that you can really take care of.
So I was actually, I always get stuff every day from like Medscape and stuff. There are 2 interesting studies. One was they studied with biological aging with multivitamins. I was trying to research and see what multivitamin these people were taking that they were studying them. And they did 5 different biological markers. One was the first generation, one was the second generation, and then they had this third one. I think it's built by themselves. And it showed
Flintstone
people,
vitamins?
Yeah. People, it was a 2-year study. People that took the multivitamins had a 20% decreased mortality rate and or decreased biological age than the placebo.
How do they measure biological age?
I was trying to find the paper that they were coming out with. I think this is a prelim statement before the paper officially comes out. So I was trying to search.
I'm a little
and
skeptical with that. It all matters on how
they were studying it on patients that were 70 plus. So
that's
they
still
weren't
good.
Yeah. So,
but that population is also more likely to be deficient on
a lot of the vitamins.
Well, nowadays
like
everyone's deficient in something because of
that is true. But like the older you get, like if you're over 70 years old, you just rely on like we
crackers,
learned in med school, like tea, crackers, like you're just like, wait, what? You guys just feed this to people for like months on end? Like they're more prone to be deficient in all these smaller molecule.
But that's crazy with just a multivitamin to decrease biological aging by more than 20%. So
so if you have a relative over 70, you clearly got to make sure they take their vitamins, take their protein shakes, and that in itself will add years to their lives. Might not have like scientific, like hard proof, but I'd like if there's something little you can do to add 2 to 5 years life expectancy to somebody you love, like why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
And it's not, you don't have to go fancy or anything. Like just make sure they have their protein intake, eat your chicken. If they need supplements with shakes, get your multivitamin, and there you go. That's a good starting point, and then you can build on that.
Yeah, and they just got to be active and have people that support them around them. That's like the blue zone stuff we always talk about. It's like when they feel like there's someone in their in their community, and some people care about them, they're gonna live longer.
Yeah. So stop by to deliver.
Relationships are always
stop
important.
by to deliver the multivitamins. And just talk for a little bit, hang out, go for a walk together. Yeah. That means a whole lot. Like whether it means anything to you or not, like health-wise, long-term, like that adds years to people's lives.
How about taking care of grandkids? Do you think that adds years or?
It definitely does. It definitely does.
I'm just kidding.
I think there's research with like 100%. People who own
I'm pretty sure it's the research that
people who own dogs live longer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And people that have kids at older age live longer too. Supposedly.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's research out for that too.
It's also the will.
Live shorter though.
It's also the will to live. I think more people have the will to live.
Yeah.
It's will to live. Like I personally think I like the dog ones because coming back to the hormones, it makes perfect sense. Like you have to go take your dogs out for a walk.
Yeah.
You have to go out and get some sunlight to begin the day. Yeah. Maybe go out for a walk again another time during the day. So it's the companionship helps. Also, again, that sunlight that sets you off way better from like cortisol levels. Again, getting that sunlight within the first hour.
Oxytocin.
You're awake. Oxytocin, exactly.
Dogs have like 8 to 10 times the oxytocin of human beings. That's why they won't leave you alone.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's cool.
That's why they hump you every second they
get.
That's funny.
You could smack them and they still love you.
Yeah.
Here is all the shit I got from Sprouts today as someone who suffers from anxiety and hormonal issues. You want to start your day off in the best mood ever? I promise you, moringa tea. Moringa has something in it called quercetin, which influences your serotonin levels in the brain. So it's going to increase serotonin and just make you feel really good and happy. Next, I have Coco June organic cultured coconut yogurt. This is not only good for your hormone health because it's a source of healthy fat and it's a great source of probiotics, but it also is really great for your mental health because it contains medium chain triglycerides, which is basically brain fuel. An absurd amount of chomps. This is just to hit my protein goal each day. As a snack, protein is very important for hormone synthesis. You literally need protein to make hormones. It also helps regulate your blood sugar levels, so no spikes in blood sugar, and it helps with estrogen balance. There is one tea I can tell women to take for hormone health. It is raspberry leaf tea. It supports the tone and strength of uterine muscles. This is very useful for people who experience menstrual cramps or anyone who is about to go through child labor. It helps with balancing out your hormones, and it reduces heavy menstrual flow. It is the best tea you could possibly drink as a woman. I swear by it. And the best almond milk out there, almond milk. Almonds contain vitamin E, and vitamin E reduces oxidative stress in the body. I also don't like to drink dairy milk often, every single day, just because it makes me bloated personally. And almond milk, this is the cleanest almond milk you will ever find in the grocery store, so this is why I like to buy this brand in particular. Cremini mushrooms. Cremini mushrooms are a great source of B vitamins, which will give you energy. They help convert your food into cellular energy. Also are a great source of selenium, which is the happy mineral. This is also the same mineral found in Brazilian nuts. Then I got micro broccoli. I just like the vibe of adding this in a bowl. I like the way it looks, but they are very nutrient dense. They're full of antioxidants, which can benefit both your brain health and your hormone health. Sweet potatoes are insane. People don't realize this, but sweet potatoes are adaptogens. They contain compounds called anthocyanins, which help your body respond to stress better. This is particularly useful for women who are struggling with their cycle because of stress-related issues. They also contain phytoestrogens, which have a mild estrogen effect. This is also really great for anyone who just recently got off the pill. And they contain vitamin B6, which is a precursor to make serotonin. They get senna tea. Senna is a natural herb that helps with constipation, but this is not going to benefit your hormone health or your mental health. Well, it might if you're constipated. I do take it because I take iron supplements and sometimes I just need some extra assistance. And then to get some greens in, I like to get the pre-made salads from Taylor Farms. I got the dill pickle and the sunflower crunch chopped salad kit. And lastly, to reduce inflammation in the body, purple sweet potato. This is a very strong anti-inflammatory agent. It also is rich in fiber and it helps regulate your blood sugar levels, so you won't have any sudden deep cravings throughout the day.
Okay, so most of the stuff she said, I agree with. The chomps,
they can't be good.
They're really good because of high protein levels.
Yeah,
but they have a crap ton of sodium. Like each one of the chomps, I had a couple today, but each one has like over 30% of your sodium, daily value of sodium. So you have two of those sticks. That's not going to fill you up for 60% of your day, but you consumed 60% of your sodium in two like beef sticks or whatever you call it.
That was an easy $200 shopping list. In
that was, seconds. Dude. But you go to Sprouts. If you go to Sprouts, you got a $200 shopping list either way.
Yeah. It's just the broccoli. It's like $7, and it might be 2 servings in there.
It's expensive. The broccoli sprouts and stuff. I personally like it a lot. Very nutritious. Like broccoli sprouts
tastes good too.
They actually have servings of broccoli sprouts that aren't quite what she showed, but something different that's cheaper, that's more nutrient dense than the more grown sprouts that she showed. Those are really good, especially if you want to make like a greens mix or a green juice. I kind of like a maniac eat it right out of the container.
Yeah.
What else did she? Oh, the one thing is almond milk. Why wouldn't you
just take
almond
a
milk?
supplement?
I am not sold on almond milk.
What do you mean?
I don't know. There's something environmentally and holistically, I'm against almond milk.
Do you like cashew milk? Or
no, any of the nut milks, because a lot of those farms that grow those nuts are like depriving like the Colorado River from draining down. I guess it's because we're in Arizona, but like it's leading to a lot of droughts even in like Southern California because of how much water's like siphoned off, or specifically like almond farms.
All right.
Interesting.
So you get oat milk, which is not
oat milk fucking sucks.
Yeah. It's not good for your
I don't like alternative milks. I don't.
Yeah, I've just started to go back to just doing whole milk, but I don't drink much milk anyway.
I can't like it. I still do it.
Yeah.
And I love whole milk, but it's like my skin flares up when I drink whole dairy.
Well, that's where you got to get the lorazepam GI repair.
I did lorazepam.
You got to do the GI repair from Level Up.
Level Up.
They got BPC, lorazepam, and KPV together.
But like most of that, I agree with. There's no reason not to do it.
But
if
you can take a
afford
supplement, like, rather than doing that.
That is true, but I do believe that some things you absorb better with natural foods than a supplement with a food.
Yeah, you got to take a shit ton of it where you get it in a tiny pill.
But
so.
you can't just eat pills all day.
But you got to also, like, you got to get it from, like, a well-sourced place that, like, we use Thorne. You know what's in there, and you're getting the appropriate balance of
he did mention Thorne, so Thorne, if you're looking for a paid advertisement, like, we got your back. Don't be cheap.
So I was saying the other article that I looked at was, they were talking about GLP-1s and the weight loss from being on GLP-1s in diabetics that is correlated with decreased cancer risk, which, even metformin, because I think how it moderates your your sugars, and you're not spiking and being all over the place. You're not in that inflammatory state of creating cancer, so you're going to have much decreased cancer risk.
It kind of puts you in extremes, right? If you're diabetic, your blood sugar goes extremely high and extremely low.
Yeah.
Or compared to somebody that stays in a tight range. Yeah. Same thing with your heart rate, right? Yeah. Like, that's like my key right now in, like, working out and getting motivated to work out is I'm like, just looking at my resting heart rate, I'm like, I got to get that under 70 right now. And I want to get it under 60 within a month or two. Yeah. Not just that, it's like looking at that heart rate compared to walking heart rate. Yeah. My walking heart rate's like 100, 105, 110, and I want to get that under 100. Yeah. And it's just like, if your resting heart rate, that's a good number to go by, because if that's not under control, your heart can go out of whack when you go on, like, do a little bit of activity. Yeah. Because if your resting heart rate's 80, you take like a swift walk or like just chase a ball down with like your kid or something, your heart rate might shoot up to like 120, 140. And you got to like consider your lifespan, not in years, but in how many times your heart beats. And if you consider that, you're like, okay, I want to get my walking heart rate down, my resting heart rate down. Like, this is all connected. Like, and make.
But if you count it that way, then if you just rest all the time, you have
no, because then your resting heart rate won't decrease, right? Because your heart needs to be conditioned to beat at a lower pace. So if you're going to be lying around, your resting heart rate's going to gradually, like, let's say I was like just a glob of mush lying around. My resting heart rate as I get older is just going to keep going up, 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 where like if you're working out, it makes it more efficient. It's pumping the right amount of blood out.
Yeah, since I got the 8 sleep, I don't know if it's the 8 sleep or I've also like started to use my tonal more. My resting heart rate's gone to 60 to 65 where it used to be above 70 all the time.
No, that's definitely working.
And also, like, when you eat late at night, your heart rate remains high until like end of the, almost early morning, and doesn't really drop. Which, like, keep, fasting at the end of the night, and also the 8 sleep and getting good deep sleep. My HRV's gone up because I could never get it above 20 until I got the 8 sleep. I like my HRV's gone up, and I've been working out too. So I'm like, which one is it? Is it the 8
it's
sleep?
All
or,
of them. Yeah, it's all of it combined. Yeah, it's decreasing stress.
Yeah,
eating healthy, having a good routine. Like, if you don't have a good routine, like, it's hard for your body to calm down when it needs to.
Yeah,
exercise is really important. Like, people like, oh, I got to work out to keep my weight low. It's like, no, but it's way more important to keep your heart healthy. Yeah. And I forgot the last one. What was I thinking?
Sex. No.
Sex is activity and proper hormone release.
Yeah.
And like just keeping that down. Stay away from cigarettes. Oh,
cigarettes
hydration.
And alcohol.
Hydration.
Yeah.
Because if you're not properly hydrated, you don't have the amount of blood volume in your system. So your heart's going to work a little extra hard to get that smaller amount of volume throughout your body for that amount of time. So,
yeah, I saw like a reel this weekend. This guy's like making fun of people showing their morning routines. And he's like, I get up, I start doing work. I'm like, all right.
I get up, do 3 lines of Coke, boom.
And I'm making my phone calls.
I go.
I'm like, all right, dude, it's more important to do the cold plunges, do your workout, or do your stretches, whatever.
I've been better about stretching and working
doing
out.
Doing 1 to 2 hours of getting up early and getting that done. Yeah, not like a 3-4 hour. I understand that's not.
I'm still bad when I get up. It's automatically into the screen on my phone.
Yeah.
For like 10 to 20 minutes, but I've been getting better about, like, even if I do that screen time, getting my stretches, whether it's like a beginner's yoga or like the resistance bands, getting like between the two, it's like no matter what it is, whether it's yoga, stretching, resistance bands, bike, I keep all of them to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I try to do 2 of those things each morning.
Yeah.
So like Mondays and Fridays, my easy days, where I'll do either yoga or stretching and like just like a beginner ride on the Peloton, like nothing crazy, getting like maybe my heart rate up to like 130, 140.
You know Ram's morning routine? Right. Just praying that he's alive from the Saran not killing him.
I'm alive. That kid's going to be in a crib with a cover.
Well, last night, I mean, he just wakes up with like, last night he had a nightmare and he was just like, fix. I don't know. Something needed to be fixed in his nightmare. There he went right back
he
to
takes
bed.
after his grandpa so much. Yeah. He wakes up in a nightmare yelling, fix. I wonder where he gets that
right
from.
Back to sleep. It was hilarious. I was like, oh, thanks for ruining my sleep. But yep. Okay, let's go fix it. Would you say this? So the study brought decreased cancer risk.
Yeah, which
that makes sense because sugar levels come down.
Most studies will show you lower BMI.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you
and like all the
BMI
cancer
is
studies
related to like it's correlated.
Cancer risk is going to go down if your blood sugar is controlled, no matter what.
Yeah.
That cancer, and more importantly, I think it's more related. Like what Ruse is saying, lower BMI equals lower estrogen levels equals lower cancer risk. Mm-hmm. Like even if like you look at the studies recently that come out that despite like early detection, early treatment of cancers for mostly males between ages like it's something like 20 to 50. Despite that, the amount of deaths due to those cancers have not decreased. So that it's an increased prevalence of these cancers happening despite better treatment and
but it's treatment which is led by big pharma. They give you these drugs and even estrogen blockers and stuff that don't really like help people survive longer. It's just maybe
it's they're poison.
Yeah.
It's just directed poison.
Yeah.
It's, if that poison has the right effect, well, screw it.
Before I used to think like people were crazy when they didn't want to take chemo and stuff, but then you look into it and like maybe they wanted because people
give me the numbers. Give me the numbers and start reporting quality of life measures as like how good people feel while they're alive.
Yeah.
So like, okay, if I'm gonna live 5 more years and feel great while I live those 5 more years. Versus living 10 years feeling like shit. Like, tell me, like, there's got to be numbers on those. And that's not available. Like, that shit, like, I would take living well for 2 years over living, like, crap where, like, we've seen our patients. And,
let me ask this question. So, you get what supposed cure versus someone that has cancer. Do you think the person that's been cured mentally is better, or the person that's like living with their cancer? And the way I'm asking that is like, person that's been cured is probably every day thinking the cancer's coming back, right? Mm-hmm. Where the guy's like, all right, I got cancer, I'm going to die from this, and I'm going to live my best life. Versus the other person.
It varies personally. That's a big like spectrum to go over, like how people would respond to stressors like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. You have to go case by case on that. I don't think you could generalize that.
Yeah.
But that's what I think. Because we've had to go through it personally in our family. Yeah. It's like, okay, this isn't curable, but it's treatable. It's like, dude, wait, what? I didn't know that was a thing.
Dude, we saw both our grandma and grandpa get put through shit that we're like, you guys just got to let them go, and they weren't willing to let them go. And they, you know, the family, like us being physicians, kept on telling our you know, like
what's realistic. If there's a chance, like, yes, let's go ahead and fight. If we're
But like Rod Meier's the neurosurgeon, and my grandfather had a huge aneurysm, right? And like that person, like more like, you know, you're just keeping them alive for your own good. Yeah. And like in Iran, the hospital systems aren't as good as they are in the U.S. So it's like, you know, it just strains everyone when you're doing that. So
that's a whole like for discussion. Us, I think that would be a whole nother episode with
end of life care.
Yeah, that's and just like the mentality behind that. Yeah, actually, would be a really good episode to dive into.
Because we're physicians, so we also think differently about it. So and
realistic outlook.
Yeah, and like I was a general surgery resident before this, so it's like.
But you've also seen people in the ICU pretty aggressive about talking about end of life. Like, wait, this guy just got here.
Yeah,
like you want to like kick back. Like let's not try to like scrape organs out of this body just yet.
Oh yeah, when the donor network.
Like, oh, we're gonna talk about it. It's like, dude's got a sucking chest wound. Like, can we take care of that chest wound while the family decides? It's like I've had some bad. Like most of it makes sense, but some of it's just like you kind of pushing way. That's a whole separate episode. We gotta save that one.
Do you recommend any? Speaking of this episode, do you guys recommend anything to take, like just foods to eat for hormones rather than supplements?
It's just, dude, you got to keep like whole nutritious foods, you know, to just balance.
Yeah, whole unprocessed.
Like cut out processed stuff.
Yeah, it's all
there was research put out like last year that said like directly like correlating the dose of processed red meat and Alzheimer's, like directly correlating that. And
processed
it was dose
food, your oils.
Too. So like just whole foods. Stay away from processed foods. Keep the protein rich. Greens, like you can't go wrong with greens. Everybody eats,
cut out sugars.
Yeah, and a lot of people
and even like even your meats, and know where your meats and your fish and stuff are sourced, because like if you're getting farm raised like salmon, you might think it tastes great, but that's inflammatory. You're going to get the omega-6s instead of the omega-3s. Like good grass-fed
and that fish
beef
has been eating other fish's shit the whole time.
Yeah. So organic grass-fed beef is going to get you plenty of like omega-3s that, you know, that crappy piece of salmon, it lacks, and it's going to be more inflammatory than eating a nice
fresh
grass-fed
proteins,
steak.
Greens, get some antioxidants. Some people overdo it with the fruit, but keep a little like well balanced, even though like what the traditional well balanced is like.
Yeah, you don't need to eat a banana every day. You don't need to eat an apple every day. Keep it more vegetables than fruits to a minimum. You know, I eat oranges just, you know, during flu season and stuff, just to pick up the vitamin C.
And then once a month, just butt chug some coffee.
This is day 1 of taking testosterone. So about 2 months ago, I went to a medical lab center that takes all of your blood and then runs a full lab examination on them. For 3 or 4 years, I've been suffering a lot with some crazy weird symptoms that I could just never figure out what was going on, like extreme fatigue, brain fog, low energy, low motivation in general. I was having really bad migraines, so I was hoping going to this lab they could see if anything was wrong. They tested like a million things. It was kind of overwhelming. They did my white blood cell count, all the vitamins in my body, thyroid, my hormones. When my doctor and I started talking about my hormones, she noticed that my testosterone levels were like super low. Usually when you think of testosterone, you think of men and male hormones, but women actually need testosterone too. If you have very low levels, it can cause symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, feeling weak, tired, and that's how I was feeling. She prescribed me a low dose of testosterone to try out, and I wanted to share my process with it because I feel like a lot of women might not know about it and it might be a good option for you. So this is what it looks like. It's in a little like deodorant tube, I guess. You click it out and then rub it on the inside of your arms. You can take it in a couple different ways, but this is the way that she prescribed me. If you want to see how it goes, then follow along and comment if you have any questions.
I personally love that like a lot. And sometimes it might not even show up in lab tests, but it shows up symptomatically, like where you're feeling this way. And especially with like the last 10, 15 years, we've gone with medicine where like you go in with like, oh, I'm feeling kind of drowsy or whatever. A lot of people turn into what? Adderall, methamphetamines, like, and that's like what we've turned into. And with the problem with that
anxiolytics,
SSRIs, and it's kind of like masking the symptom rather than taking care of the symptom.
Well, you can treat it, but like I would want to know more about this before being like, all right, because
I know, but
she's a young girl, so you got to figure out why. You know, like is it her diet? Is she not sleeping right? Is she got some heavy metal poisoning? Like where is she working? Is she high stress?
Too much
because you gotta fix all this stuff. And you gotta figure out why she's like testosterone deficient.
No, but I think a lot of people are on. Exactly, you gotta come down with the root cause, but still,
but like hormones can't treat
replacing testosterone. Replacing her testosterone is better than getting her on
antidepressants,
anxiolytics, Adderall. Like, and we know people on those, like multiple people that are just increasing the dose.
But I'm just saying, someone young like her, I would definitely like try to see everything before just going to testosterone.
Yeah,
because a lot of people aren't going to do the heavy metal testing or try to figure out why their life and take a good questionnaire of the lifestyle and figure out what's causing the root issue for her to be testosterone deficient. And what's testosterone deficient in females? It's kind of a guessing game with females, and sometimes it is just, more with symptomatic treatment than anything else. Because I had patients come in, they just go in these clinics, they're like, oh, they're feeling great, just keep on boosting it up, and then they get clitoral hypertrophy, and they're
coming
like,
with a mustache thicker than mine.
Yeah, and they're like, what can I do about this? So,
hey, doc,
a lot of
I feel great. I'm about to throw you through this fucking
a lot
window.
of it's reversible with just getting them balanced and to the right dose. But like, young patients though, you gotta, they're gonna try to get pregnant and stuff, and you got to worry about that with. But also, sometimes they need to be on hormones. Like for females, they need to be on progesterone to be able to get pregnant because they might be estrogen dominant and not producing enough progesterone.
It's all about the balance.
Yeah.
Homeostasis.
So online, people are asking whether testosterone is something that can make you taller.
Yeah, I used to be as tall as Ram until I took testosterone. Now I'm like towering over all my brothers. I don't think so. Once your growth plates fuse, unless you're taking it like while you're growing, which I would not recommend. It doesn't scientifically
even
make sense.
That's the issue with growth hormone too. That's where you find the hip pain, the wrist pain, because your bone's going to grow, but the plates are fused, so you're not going to grow taller. It's just going to increase in density.
Yeah.
With
just look at Barry Bonds' forehead.
Yeah, exactly. So
how about the new surgery that people are doing to make themselves taller?
That's another episode. Where and how is testosterone produced?
In your testes.
Balls.
Yeah.
You could have made it easy. Listening. But you're like,
well, it's a conversion of, it comes from cholesterol, gets converted to DHT, and I don't know.
And for females, it's from estrogen that gets converted to testosterone, correct? Or
no.
How do they?
No, testosterone gets converted to estrogen.
Like, where does the testosterone come from in females, though?
They have testosterone. Females have testosterone.
But where does it come?
Ovaries?
Ovaries, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just your...
It's the reproductive. It's the same thing?
System,
okay.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's balls on the inside.
Okay. Physiology. It's been a while for
I know. It's been like step one for me.